Hey, welcome to Uncomfortable Conversations with Keisha. I have been going for a very, very long time, way longer than I expected, way longer than I planned. Um, but for, I guess, a good reason. I have had so many changes over the last few weeks, and I just needed to take a break. I just needed to give myself time to breathe. I hope I'm at work doing this. I hope y'all can't hear these loud behind construction people. Sidebar, there's construction across the street from where I work, and it sounds like a war zone. Like the floor be shaking. It's absolutely ridiculous. But back on subject. So I did take a break. I needed to. Number one, I just did not have the energy. Like I didn't have the energy to do anything. And sometimes I still struggle with energy. It is what it is. So today we're going to talk about transitions. I was going to talk about supporting people who are grieving during the holidays. I think I am going to post that for next week's conversation. You might get a double one this week. Depends on how life goes. But I wanted to talk about transitions because one of the things that have kept me away, the thing that has kept me away, is transitions in my personal life. I started a new job. My husband started a new job. There's some other things going on that I am not going to disclose right now. But it's just been a lot. And transitions are not always easy. I struggle with transitions, even transitions for the best. Before I moved to Florida, I decided to I decided to start seeing a therapist again just to help me with my transition from New Jersey to Florida. And it was a decision that I made. Or I wasn't forced to do it. I didn't do it because my husband's job took us there, or my job took me there. It was a decision, it was a decision my husband and I made to move to Florida. But I still needed help to work through the transition of going somewhere, and it was a positive decision. But I still need the help. So we're going to discuss transitions because transitions are not easy. There are some transitions that are way harder than others. The loss of a relationship, the loss of a marriage, the death of a family member. Those transitions obviously are way, way harder. But we're going to just talk about the transition of life as we go along. New job, new place, new kids, all of those things are not easy. And so I'm going to talk about how to get through it, how to grow through it, and how to make that into the most positive experience, because I don't think we discuss how to transition from one stage to next. I don't think we discuss that enough. Everybody's always excited. Oh, yeah, I got that new job. But the new job comes with a new schedule. The new schedule can come with a new route to school. If you have kids, that means that may change how you operate with your kids in the morning. If there's so many minuscule things, so many small things that come into these transitions that can be very, very, very stressful. So we're going to discuss how to get through it, how to grow through it, and how to ease the impact of a transition. The first one is to prepare yourself the best you can. Arm yourself with knowledge. No matter what it is. When I was pregnant with my baby, now 4, when I was preparing for her, I was reading books, reading articles, watching educational shows, talking to my friends who are moms. I joined certain Facebook groups just to give myself the most knowledge that I could, and soak up and absorb as much knowledge as I could moving forward for that stage of my life. Newsflash, all of that knowledge all of that knowledge that I soaked up, although very, very helpful, especially during the sleep time and when you learn about the baby growing and all of those things, but nothing fully prepares you for parenthood like the experience. And each child is different. So Godspeed. But I armed myself with knowledge, even preparing for this new job. I started researching because it's a different field for me, but also it's my second job in Florida, so it is it was different for me. So I needed to start looking at different resources, looking at different places around, trying to figure out how to be the best that I can within the job and how to bring the best that I can with it. Once again, came with a new schedule. Thank God this schedule was a lot easier on me, where I only had to be to work a half an hour early. That half an hour makes a world of difference when I am up trying to get out the house with a toddler. So I am grateful for that. It came with a new route to drive to work, which made a difference. Once again, I'm grateful that it was a shorter route to work. So this transition was a little bit easier. However, there have been other transitions where I've had a longer commute. I've had more to do in the morning. I've had to change my daughter's schedule. All of these things happen. Prepare yourself as much as you can. If you can kind of practice that routine, the new routine that you're going to go into before you do it, that kind of it's kind of like when you're starting school, when we actually went to school, when you're starting school, and you used to have that summer schedule where you didn't wake up until about 10 o'clock in the morning, 9 sometimes, and your mother tells you to start waking up at 6 to prepare you to get on that school bus at 6:30 or 6:45. That's the kind of thing that you want to do. The second thing is to be flexible. We come into life, we come into situations, we come into transitions with thoughts in our mind of how it's going to go. It's going to go like this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. And if you're one of those overthinkers, me right here, raise your hand. I'm an overthinker. If you're one of those overthinkers, you just, you have your list, you checking off things, and it's going to go like this, and it's going to go like that. And sometimes it doesn't. So be flexible. Be able to roll with the punches, especially within the first 6 months of a transition. A lot of people feel like after 2 weeks, you should just snap yourself back into wherever, or snap yourself into whatever routine. No. It takes 21 days for you to learn a new habit. It takes 90 days for it to become permanent. So at least give yourself 3 to 6 months for you to actually get into the flow of things. I am almost 2 months into this new job, and there's no flow. That's also because of the nature of the place, but I'm working with this transition. I'm not struggling, but I'm working with the transition where I'm learning things that I'm teaching myself, and things I'm learning how I need to do things, because my schedule is not as rigid. My schedule is a lot more fluid. And for some people, that is like, oh yeah, I can do whatever I want. But for some people who need structure and who need that kind of, you do this, then you do this, then you do this, then you do that. I haven't created my schedule in a very long time. So it's a little bit more difficult for me to get into a place where I now create my schedule. And also still being fluid, because yesterday my schedule got hijacked. Walked in, got an emergency, everything that you said that you were going to do, move over. So my whole 9 o'clock shift went straight down to 1 o'clock p.m. It happens. Be flexible. Give yourself the grace to make mistakes. Give yourself the grace to mess up, to do things not accurately the first time, but be flexible. The third thing is take breaks. As you can see, I took a break. I could not take a break from work. I don't take a break from being a mom. Don't take a break from being a wife. But I took a break from doing this because mentally, physically, emotionally, I just wasn't there. And if I can't give you my best, then I can't give it to you. And I don't ever want to show up and not give you my best, because I honor your time. I appreciate the time that you spend listening to my videos. So I needed to take a break. So that's what I did. And I gave myself that space. At first, I felt really, really bad because I know a lot of you have given me amazing feedback and a lot of you have appreciated it. But I needed to be honest with myself in that I just didn't have the time. I just wasn't up to it. I was just so tired and so drained, and it took a lot out of me. The fourth thing is acknowledge that the process can be difficult. Once again, I don't think we give ourselves that space. There was a time, especially in the beginning of mothering. Oh, your baby is a blessing. Yes, my baby is a blessing. But feeding her every 3 to 4 hours is tiring. Waking up and pumping, and then after pumping, having this child be on my breast is exhausting. I went from sleeping 10, 12 hours a night, possibly, to having broken sleep and to trying to get into sleep like you got into the double dutch rope. It's difficult. And some people don't allow themselves to acknowledge that as much as this newfound responsibility, this newfound thing, you may have prayed for it, you may have worked for it, but there's difficulties in that blessing. There's difficulties in that transition, and acknowledging it will make you sometimes go, give yourself the space to acknowledge it. Also, if you are supporting somebody who is going through a transition, no matter what type of transition it is, especially the ones that are positive, they are growing their business, they are growing their family, they are becoming a new wife, becoming a new husband, becoming a new parent, moving on to do something, and they start saying, oh my gosh, this is exhausting, this, that, and the third. And people are like, I've had people, why are you complaining? That is your blessing. You pray for it. Yes, it is my blessing. Yes, I did pray for it. Yes, I am exhausted. Yes, it is difficult. All of those things can exist in the same space, and we need to give people the ability to express those things, and we need to honor them as they express them. So please allow people to acknowledge that they are having difficulties, no matter how amazing the transition is. Growing a new business is not easy. It comes with stress. So if people are stressing about growing their new business, you do not wag your finger at them and tell them that that's what they prayed for, and, don't be complaining about their blessing. They're not. They're just acknowledging the difficulties. So support people as they acknowledge that sometimes, even though the transition is great and the blessing is amazing, there are difficulties within that blessing. 5, something that we don't do enough. Celebrate. I still don't think I've actually fully celebrated my new position. I don't think I fully celebrated all of that is going on. And I will. It's been difficult. Number 1, pandemic. Number 2, life. But give yourself the space to celebrate. We don't celebrate ourselves enough. We don't celebrate. If you're not even going to celebrate the transition, celebrate making it through. Like, there's something, well, what do I have to celebrate even after difficult transitions, such as separation, divorce, loss of family members? Celebrate the person's life, celebrate what you've had, celebrate the blessings that you have gleaned from that experience or that time. The other part is celebrate making it through. It did not take you out. You're still here. That is a celebration. If you don't think you have anything to celebrate, you have that to celebrate, that you are still here, that no matter how difficult the day is, no matter how difficult the time is, you have made the decision to lay down, let all your problems go, and wake up the next morning. And that is to be commended. That is to be celebrated. So whether once the project is done, whether once you've gotten into a flow of things, I think I think my daughter's like first birthday was my like celebration of actually having her. And don't get me wrong, I cried after I had her. I praised God. I did all of those things, but to actually be able to, and it took me about a year to kind of acknowledge and allow myself to acknowledge, like, I've kept this child alive a whole year. Like, I was it probably sounds crazy, but I was so scared. And I think I kept on saying, I don't even know whether it was on my Facebook or on, like, to my friends, like, I've kept her alive for 1 month, kept her alive for 2 months. Oh snap, I kept her alive for 3 months. So like maybe after we got to like month 6, I was like, okay, I'm not gonna break her. She's okay, and I'm good. But her birthday celebration, which was probably a little over the top, but her birthday celebration was my like it was a celebration. It was way more for me than it was for her because she was not here for it. We'll talk about that another day. But allow yourself to celebrate. Allow yourself to celebrate getting through. Even after this pandemic, I know I've seen things of, I don't have any expectations of 2021. So we've made it. We're right there, knocking at the door of 2021. There are people who have not made it. There are people who have lost people. So the fact that we are getting there, my expectation is that we will continue to make it, that we will continue. Like, if you don't expect anything else, is that we will continue through this. And that we will have whatever it takes to get through it. And that's a celebration in and of itself, that you have what it takes to get through the difficult times. So celebrate yourself, celebrate what you have learned in the situation, celebrate the fact that the transition is happening for the good or for the bad, but celebrate. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for listening. Please like, share, subscribe. I really, really appreciate it. Have a great day. Bye.